I just wanted your thoughts on Andrew Yang and the concept of universal basic income.
Well, I think it sounds good, but it's totally flawed because you can't turn around and tax people and then turn around and give them the tax monies. It just doesn't make any sense. What we have to do is change the nature of capitalism so that the average American can do exactly like the wealthy do, and that is use other people's money in order to become owners of the tools of production. And the way you do that is you provide for loans. Let me give you an example. We know we need more windmills or to generate power. So what you could do is, let's say a windmill costs $5 million. You could go to a farmer who has a plot of ground in the corridor of wind on the continent and say, if you will bring in 4 other persons who have no net worth to speak of, and yourself, and you form a group and you borrow $5 million from the federal government, which would have a loan program, and so the wind generator that you'll have will produce enough money with the sale of electricity to the local utility that they'll be able to pay off the loan in 5 years. And once the loan is paid off, then you have 5 people that are millionaires, each millionaires. Now, how do they become millionaires? By simply borrowing the money and letting the profits of productivity pay for the cost of the capital. And so rather than taxing people and then giving them $1,000 a month, which is a scenario in my mind that would be bankrupt, what you need is to, and that's the reason why I support public banking. And thank God we have California that just passed that law. We need that to go around the country. And we can nationalize the Federal Reserve System, which of course has turned around and is bankrolled with billions and billions of dollars to banks. And so when the Republicans say, well, where are you going to get the money to do these things for education and healthcare? Well, we found the money to bail out the banks. Why can't we use that same process, which is using public banking to borrow, to lend money to citizens to acquire the tools of productivity? And so when we have a fear of everybody being put out of jobs because of automation, what we need to do is to have a program where the automated tools that are coming forward need to be owned by private citizens, not large corporate interest. And you could do that with simple devices like taking any company that's sold in the public marketplace can only expand its economic interest by equity rather than by loans and bonds. And that means that the equity now is available through loans by the federal government to the average American. Here, if you have a truck driver that's going to be put out of work by an automated truck, what you need to do is to have a program for that truck driver to own the automated truck so he can live off of the income of the productive capacity of that automated truck. That's the plan. And I hope that I have a chance to meet with Yang, because I think he's a very decent person. And I'd like to explain to him that the answer is not through false taxation, which will go hit on the average American. The answer is to provide a system of capitalism that permits average Americans to own the tools of production. Let me just say in technical terms, the terminology is that the profits of capital must pay for the cost of capital. If these profits do not pay for the cost of capital, there is no capital. And so if that's the case, then what you have to do is to have a device, which is via our system of government, to provide for the capability of people to borrow money. This is no different than what we were trying to do with small business earlier in our generation.